And Kyle is not here with me today. He had a family emergency, so it's just me. And always, when he leaves me alone, I just go find somebody to be in the passenger seat. So I'm going to give him the floor real fast to introduce himself before we get rocking and rolling. Go ahead, Marcus.
Hey, what's going on? My name is Marcus, or Stephen Marcus Releford. I'm based in LA, but I grew up in Texas. I spent a lot of time in Texas as well. And shit, thank you, David, for having me come on, man. I'm just here to talk about a little independent comedy tour that I'm putting together and, drop some gems and some nuances about the comedy game. So what's up with you?
Man, dude, listen, it's always fun to have other comedians because I'm a comedian myself. I'm
Yeah,
based out in, and people on our show know I'm based down here. I've been doing a lot of shows in South Georgia, Central Georgia, Atlanta when I can. It's funny. As we're recording this Tuesday night, I'm going to the Alley Stage in Marietta, Georgia, which has like
yeah.
all the rising stars in comedy. So I'm over here like trying to figure out what set will work, man. Because Atlanta, I know, I know you said for your tour you're going to Atlanta, dude. Let me tell you, Atlanta crowds are built different, bro.
I'm
Like,
looking forward to it.
man, listen, I wish Kyle was here, man, because one club I did, the Laughing Skull Lounge, which is a
Okay, I've
legendary
heard of
club in
it.
that city. Huh?
I heard
You
of
heard
it.
of it?
Yeah,
Dude, there's that crowd is rough. So, like, I'm a disabled comic, and I'll tell you this the last time I went, I bullshitted around. For anybody that wants to
yeah.
get into comedy, don't ever do what I did. The one last night I went there was back in December. I didn't have no set list written out. I was like, dude, I'm just gonna bullshit around because like I didn't have time to prepare, and obviously I had walk with a limp, and if I wear pants, you can't tell. So a lot of times when I'm on stage, I wear shorts and I take like one or two steps. Well, I did that in pants, and somebody in the crowd goes, "Really, you're disabled?" And I was like, "Oh shit! I usually wear shorts for this bit." Like, bro, like they're just built different. Like I had one girl, like there was one girl, she's usually around in the independent circuit up there. She literally gave my homeboy, Kyle, the host of the show, a tampon, like mid stage. She just goes, he was in the front row, and she goes, "Here you go, here's a tampon." And he's like, "What the fuck am I
That's
supposed to do with a
hilarious.
tampon?"
That's hilarious.
Bro.
Shit, bro. So the crowd out there ain't playing, man. They out there messing with you and everything.
Yeah, no, it was funny. So in the Laughing Skull, they have a green in their green room or whatever. They've got TVs, which is pretty cool. I didn't notice it. This is the last time I went there, and this is pretty cool. They have TVs set up to your left, the left of you,
Yeah,
and there's cameras pointing to the crowd, so you can see a full 360 of the crowd.
yeah.
And I was like, "Oh, dude, this is so cool." And one guy's like sitting there trying to do crowd work. He's like, "All right, who can I mess with?" And I looked at him and said, "Hey, you see homeboy in the sweater right there, brown sweater?" He's like, "Yeah."
Yeah.
I said, "Hey, that's one." I said, "Hey, that's my homeboy. Just mess with him." That man came up and he was like, "Man, I ain't touching this microphone. Y'all over here trying to spread diseases. What? Wipe the spit off my homeboy," and throws my homeboy the
Oh,
rag. And Kyle's like, "Dude, what the fuck?" Kyle's like, "Bro, I had one comedian hand me a tampon, one asked me to clean off the mic. What did I come tonight?" I'm just sitting there.
that's hilarious.
I'm just like, bro, I did not expect this. I'm sorry. I said it's my fault. The second one was my fault. The first one, I was just like, dude, she just gave you a free tampon.
That's fucking. What do you do with that? That's you know what. Thanks for the warning, man.
Dude, I'm just telling you, it is. I remember the first time I went. So I've only been doing comedy for about a year and some change. And the first time I went to that club, I didn't close it out. It was a young kid that closed it out. About 22. It was just an open mic night. I was learning. And he was like, "Man, I'm super nervous." This was like my fourth time ever doing comedy. I was like, "Dude, just breathe. You got it. It's not that bad." And I'm in the
Mhm.
back talking to somebody, and I just hear shit in my pants. And I'm like, dude, just buddy just shit his pants.
What the
And I just,
fuck?
dude, it was bad. Like nobody, like my homeboys told me after the show. I was like, "Hey, who shitted their pants on stage?" They're like, "Dude, no." The kid was like, "If I had a superpower, it'd be shitting my pants." And everybody just looked at him like Atlanta's built different.
That is different. I wouldn't even know how to follow that.
I I just looked at the kid. I just patted on the back and I said, "You'll do great next week." And I just you'll do okay next week, bro. You got any crazy stories? I know you gotta have some.
you know, I think you might have me beat on some of those. I mean, I've seen people cry. You know, I've seen fights. You know, I've seen. You know, I some of the best. You know, it's not a crazy story, but some of the best moments that I have are when people give you money after a joke.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, you ever do a joke and someone hands you like $100?
No.
You're
Damn, I
like,
got to up my game done. Ain't nobody gave me no $100.
well, it will happen. Trust me, it will happen. You do it long enough
Shit.
to where people like they they resonate with the joke that you tell. Or I've had it to where people would make like a request. They're like, "Hey, if you do a joke about cheating, I got a tip for you." And I just so happen to
Oh.
have material about cheating, you know, so it works for me. And
Oh, nice.
those moments are pretty cool. But I mean, last night I got up at the Comedy Store, which is one of those moments that is really cool, you know. So they do a mic here every Monday, Sunday, and Wednesday. Wednesday is like the most popular night that they
Yeah.
have. It's the potluck mic that they have. And I got up last night and I was in the finals. And it came down to me and this other comedian, Daryl. And Daryl, he etched it out a little bit. But, you know, if I was in the finals, I feel like I still kind of won. So it was all good.
Yeah. So dude, I was actually, I was curious, me and another group of guys. So we do a lot of stuff in South Georgia. And I was looking at the Comedy Store because I'm like, dude, how do you like get your foot in the door in places like that?
I think you get your foot in the door like that in two different ways. Either you come through the front door, meaning, hey, Devin, we love you. We already know you because you're famous and we love all your stuff because you've already built your own name. Or you get through the back door, meaning you know somebody who works there or you know somebody who's a comic that can vouch for you. Because
But,
ultimately, being funny is like number four, number three on the list. It's
dude,
really
facts.
it's really like who do you know and what have you built. And ultimately, I mean, doing what you're doing with the podcast and whatever other shows you're doing, whatever else you're doing, helping with the video stuff, like whatever you're doing, it adds to your leverage. So always remember, as much as you want to help and collaborate and build with other people, always be willing to have something on your own to where you can build from there. Because once you have a table, it's easy to build from there as opposed to, you know, you can be the funniest person, but if you haven't built nothing for people to really know or for you to have leverage, you're going to
Yeah.
be running. You'll be running up and down the city trying to do 5 minutes. You know,
Dude, you don't know the half of it, dude. I've, man, I've done that before. Yes, I agree with you 100%. Like when I first started a year ago, I was just running around trying to network with people.
yeah,
And Dan Brown, he's done stuff for Dry Bar Comedy. And you could probably agree, not every open mic is a good open mic. I don't know if you've had some bad open mic experiences, but I have. Like I'm talking like I was down at Side Splitters in Wesley Chapel. Cool venue. But the regulars had people walk out.
that's horrible.
Dude, it was bad. Like I
How do
got
you have regulars? How the regulars walking people?
dude, that's what I was saying. And I was the last to go because the guys knew I was coming from out of state. And they're like, yeah, we'll give you some extra minutes since you coming out of state and we appreciate it. I was like, yeah, I appreciate you. Dude, like it was so bad. Like there was one group that just got up and like said, y'all suck. And like just people started slowly walking out. I think when I got there was 50 people. By the time I performed, there was probably like 10.
Oh my
And
god,
I was like, this was a fun 4 hour drive.
that's the worst. When you drive, you ever driven, you know, a couple of hours away to go bomb?
Let's see. I did actually. What's your definition of driving far? How many hours have you?
Well, I mean, I'll say anything outside of about 45 minutes up until an hour is for me is like you're driving, you know, because where I'm at, you're unless you're in traffic. Where I'm at,
Yeah.
you're pretty much 30 to 45 minutes from anything that you want to get to that's worth it. You know.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah. Honestly, where I normally go, so where we go to Central Georgia before Matt, it's like an hour and a half for me.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I've bombed there at my regular place before, and dude, bombing is like the worst as a comedian because, and we've all talked about this with my homeboys. I do shows words. I feel like as a comedian, we're our own worst critic. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? But then you go watch the video and you're like, oh, I didn't do that bad after all. But in the moment, you're just like, man, fuck this shit. I'm getting in my car. I'm gonna go eat ice cream. I ain't doing this shit ever again. I'm about to delete all my social media. You know what I
Right.
mean? You ever had that moment?
Yeah. Yeah. Of course. Of
But
course,
it's
man.
funny. Well, it's funny. I actually, dude, it was so bad. Last Friday we did a show, and this is a group of guys. We've all performed in theaters together in front of like hundreds of people, and we do this local show, right? And we all bombed. Like I'm talking, like we all bombed,
Yeah.
like just straight obliteration. Like I had one lady look at me. She's like, "Why would you say that?" And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I thought it would work."
Damn.
Oh, dude, it was bad. I had one heckler. I haven't posted this on my social media yet. I'm about to, probably in the next day or two. He was popping off, and I said, "Hey, bro, it's Pride Month. Why don't you keep sucking on that duck seckies and just shut up?"
Yeah.
And see, people love that. And then he said something else. He said something else. He was mumbling. I'm like, "Hey, shut up. It's Pride Month. Keep sucking on it." And I said something else. Like he got pissed. Like he got up. I said, and I'm like 5'5". Dude, homeboy is like 6 foot. I said, all right, I better chill out before I get my ass beat in this redneck town. And people started laughing. I said, yeah, y'all think it's funny because you ain't better get your ass beat
Man. Have you actually had somebody walk up to you after your set?
and try to beat your ass.
Well, just like some shit to you.
Oh, dude, yes, all the time. And I just look at I hate when people are like, maybe if you did this joke this way, it might work. I'm like, have you been on stage before? No, but I think the joke would be funny if you did it this way. I said, hey, guess what? I gave you permission to try that joke this way in front of all these people, and you tell me how it goes. I give you full
Yeah.
permission. Like, if you don't have, and I know that sounds kind of rude, but I'm like, dude. And my dad kind of said this. He's like, dude, that's terrifying. Like, if you have not at least tried to do stand up at least once or do any form of public speak, not just
Yeah.
stand up,
Yeah.
music, rap, or whatever, then
Yeah.
don't criticize, someone's craft. You can
Right.
give your opinion, like hey, I didn't like that joke tonight. Okay, well my bad. I got like 20 more.
Right. Right.
That's
Right.
different. But
Yeah.
if somebody comes up to me, they're like, "Yeah, if you do it this way," I'm like, "Dude, shut up."
I feel you. I feel you. That's one of the pet peeves about being a comic is that people who don't do what you do tell you how to do it.
Yes, and I'm like, "Do you do it?" No, but I just think. Then shut up.
Right.
Sh-
Right. Right. Right.
sh-
Right. Right.
just shut up and go away, man. But that's like one of my pet peeves. And dude, it's funny, dude. This happened to us 2 weeks ago. We were doing a show at a bar, and the headliner, no, the feature, she's big here in Atlanta. Like she's one of the ones. She's producing so many shows in Atlanta. She was
Okay.
talking. Homeboy got. She was in the middle of her set. Older age guy came walking in. He was obviously drinking. He got up with her on stage, and she's like, "Dude, back up! I will kick you in the dick." Because homeboy sat down and he started waving his arms around like this, and we were just like, we were all watching him, and then he just got up right next to her, and she's like backing up, and she's like, "Dude, I'll kick you in the dick." And so everybody gets up. Tanner, who I do shows with, is like 6'2", picks the guy up and just throws him out of the bar. And Tanner don't even work there. The security guard's out smoking a cigarette. He's like, "What happened?" Right,
That's
dude,
funny.
there was a drunk guy like doing Dance Revolution, man. Dude, it was wild. I can't tell you how many drunk people would get up and just try to like give you a hug or something. I'm like, well, hey, back up, get, just chill. You know what I
That's
mean,
fucking wild. Yeah. I had
dude?
some. I did a show in Vegas a couple of months, like a month ago, and
Oh yeah, where at?
so it was at this spot called Area 15. It was this woman, Haley Brooks. She does a show there called The Silent but Deadly Show. It's a show where everyone wears headphones.
What?
Yeah,
That makes no
so
sense.
it doesn't make any sense. So essentially, it's like drive-through comedy. You've been to a drive-through movie,
Yeah.
so essentially, it's like that. Where have you heard of silent discos?
Oh my god.
So it's
Yes.
silent disco comedy, bro. That's what it is.
That doesn't make
Essentially,
any sense.
they set up this comedy space in the middle. Imagine a fucking Dave and Buster's style, like an adult theme style fucking experience. They set up a comedy show in the middle of this. There's no walls, Devin. There's no walls. There's no walls. There's just loud music and people walking around. So they give you these headphones to listen to the comic who it feels like you're just yelling in the void, to be honest. But they pay you $100 for 15 minutes and you're just doing your comedy. And sometimes people have the best sets of their life in there.
Dude, how?
For
I don't
me, it
know.
was
That's
for me it was a wreck. I didn't like it, but for some
yeah.
people, I think it just depends on because that's one of the things I like about comedy is that every room has a pocket.
Mhm.
No matter how much it may look like it's not going to work in your favor, if you are surgical enough in your approach, you can find the way to make a room that's not traditionally a comedy room. You can find a way to win them on your side, you know?
That is true. Um, one place, so like I'm not gonna lie to you, I thrive in like blue collars kind of areas down here where I'm at in South Georgia. Those crowds I thrive with. But anytime we go to the city, so I'll give again. I'm going back to Atlanta because you're going there. Atlanta people like to be entertained. Like think of like Kevin Hart. They want you to entertain. They want to tell you a story. Like you can't go up there and be like, "Oh, last week I split my pants." They're just gonna look at you and be like, "Okay," and
Right,
they want you. They want you to tell a story. They want you to be a character. Where the
right.
blue collar guys are like, "He split his pants," and those guys are easy to. They want to hear actual jokes. So to me, South Georgia. If you ever get any tours dates down here, South Georgia, tell us that Atlanta, they want to be entertained.
I can see that. I can see that. You think it's more like in terms of energy or like stage presence or like act outs or just like
I,
pretty
you
you
know,
gotta just have like you got to just be off the wall. Like, what do you mean by what? How you say entertain?
I would say stage present. Yeah, stage present for one, and kind of just going back to social media. You got to hit them with that hook in like 3 seconds.
Yeah,
If you don't get them within the first 3 seconds or 30 seconds to tell your opener, oh, bro, you're gonna die. You're gonna die and struggle, and you're gonna sink, and then you're gonna be feeling like shit.
yeah,
Where all these South Georgia shows and Central Georgia, the words are hard. Central Georgia shows that we produce, old buddy wants to actually hear a joke, so you can sit up there, say, "Hey, everybody, how you doing?" And you can like, "How are you feeling tonight?" Do a little combo, and then they just want to hear actual jokes. Jokes. You ain't got to sit here and be like, "Oh, I'm Devin, and I got us." You know what I mean? You don't have to do no flair. You could just sit back and just tell jokes, and it'll be a great
yeah,
time.
yeah.
I have been offered beer though. Beer was great. Although this one time's great. One of my great jokes, because I am a disabled comic, is I have a joke to where, as a disabled comic, I get paid in ice cream and stickers. And
Yeah, funny.
damn bartender one time gave me ice cream and stickers. I was like,
What the fuck?
shit, dude. I said, shit, yeah, give me this damn fudge pop, man. I'm starving. Dude, it's just so great. That's why you said people tip you. You make it cash. I get fudge pops. I'm fine with that. Shit.
Yeah, they cut the middleman out for you.
Shit. Well, dude, that's how my joke kind of goes, man. Cause sorry, I backtrack. So I have a buddy in Alabama. He's
Yeah,
wheelchair bound, and I walk with a limp. And so one day I was driving to a show, and he was like, "Devin, we need to go on tour together." He's like, hear me out. We'll call it Wheelchair Chronicles with Wheelchair and Gimpy, the gimpiest leg in the South. And I said, motherfucker, we're gonna be definitely known as special need comedians. You tried working with ice cream, getting paid in ice cream and stickers, and people just love that shit. That's like my top two jokes.
Yeah,
It works everywhere I go.
I love it.
And what's your go-to joke? That no matter what room you're in or wherever part of the country you're in, it just kills.
Uh, you know, it's funny. I don't know if I have, I'm sure I do. I don't know if I have go-to jokes. I just got short jokes and long jokes, simple jokes and smart jokes. But I feel
Oh
like the
yeah.
go-to that I go to like right now is more of a statement than a full joke. But the ideal is that sometimes I'll be in the middle of something and just a way to throw something at the crowd just to kind of shake
Mm.
them up a bit. I tell them, "Excuse me, I'm sorry. I've been drinking a lot of tap water lately." And the crowd erupts all the time.
Really,
It has nothing to do with anything, and they love it.
dude? It's always the stupidest stuff. Like I
Yeah,
used to say, regardless where we
or
go, there's always alcohol, and I used to tell people, I've stopped saying it because it's funny. My homeboy Malcolm's like, you used to say this all the time. I used to go on stage and grab the mic, and I'd be like, all right, the little short guys on stage, the more you drink, and if you see three little short guys on stage, you're having a good time. And people be like, oh, and I'm like, all right, I won. I
yeah,
won within 30 seconds.
for real. Yeah,
And then
another
my
one.
homeboy, go ahead.
I was gonna say another stupid one. That's just a throwaway. Is y'all remember when dog shit turned white? Those
Ugh.
were the good old days. People just love it.
Shit. Oh man, I'm trying to think. What's another throwaway one I used? I'm trying to think. Throwaway, throwaway. It was that one. Oh, dude, this one. I I keep telling myself to do crowd work, but I am terrible at trying to force myself to do crowd work. I don't. Are you a crowd work guy?
You know, I wouldn't say I am a crowd work guy, but I do like playing with the crowd. I do make effort, or not an effort, but I am. My comedy is pretty inviting. I don't have many hecklers, but my comedy is very conversational, so
Uh huh.
it does have an element of inviting people to talk and shit like that. But I
Hmm.
wouldn't say that I'm a crowd work comic by any means. No.
Dude, the first time I ever did crowd work, and when I was first starting to do comedy, this is one of my jokes that I wrote early on. I'm starting to bring it back because it also kills, and you know how it is, because you're just like, man, I'm get tired of saying the same old stuff. So I put it in the back burner, and it was
Right.
like, for $25,000, you can marry a Disney character, which is true. Look it up. It's like 100% true. And the
Wow.
joke is, I pointed myself and I say I want to marry the bunny from Zootopia because people are like people love it. And I said it one night and I did crowd work with it. And this young couple was in the front row. They yelled, "Yeah, we won't have a three-way with Aladdin." And I was like, uh, "How do I process this?"
Whoa.
Exactly. Like, how do you go from as a comic when you're just like, "Do you guys want to sleep with Aladdin and have like carpet burn on your junk?" And I was like, "I don't know what to do here. I'm moving on." You know what I mean? You're just like, "Shit, I'm moving on."
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Because now that's one of my jokes in my routine. Because I tell people that story and they're like, "Oh," and I'm just like, easy peasy. But yeah, Marcus, let me ask you this: what got you into comedy?
I was studying film and communication in school, and then I had this thought being on my deathbed, surrounded by all my talents and my gifts,
Mm.
and they were like, "Man, all you have to do is use me, and you wouldn't be in this position." So after I came out of that thought, the very next week, I was telling my best friend out at a bar how I wanted to do stand up. And this guy next to me, he overheard me talking to my friend about it. And right then and there, he said, "Hey, if you want 5 minutes at the comedy store, I can give it to you next week." And the first time I got up on stage was doing 5 minutes at the comedy store.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
about to say my first time was actually at the historical Tipton Theater doing 5 minutes in front of like 100 people. No,
beautiful.
60 that time.
That's amazing.
Not really. Hey, listen, dude, it was so a little backtrack. So it was like an open mic. The my wife found it. She was like, "Hey, I think you should go try it." And it was an open mic night or whatever there. I was like, "Yeah, it would be kind of cool. Go to an actual theater with the lights and the crowd that actually pay attention to you." So I was like, "Okay, how do you write jokes?" So I was like doing research online. And the day before the show, we did sound check. I was the only comedian. It was like six singers and like one comedian. And I ran through my set, and all of them just stared at me like, "Bro, this ain't funny." So I'm like sweating bullets. I was like, "Ah, shit, none of these jokes work." I ran home, told my wife. My wife was like, "Calm down, let me look at it." And we sat back down and we retooled. And that night I killed.
Good.
And then like 4 months later, the theater manager, he was like, "Hey, I want to do a comedy night. Can you help me produce it?" And I was like, "Sure." And I'm over here like, "Oh, dude, I'm gonna do a good 10 minutes because by then I've been doing about 5 to 8 minutes. I can do 10." He's like, "Hey, I need you to do 20." I was like, 20 minutes, dude. I'm like,
Yeah.
bro, dude. I didn't struggle because I learned how to do notes. I'm sure you use. Do you use notes a lot?
Well, it depends. Like, I mean, yeah, I do, but it just depends on the show.
Really?
Yeah, it depends. Like some shows, I feel like if the like the show tonight, I'm not gonna use notes because someone it's a headliner who invited me out. It's one of their tour dates, so they're just letting me do a drop in. So
Yeah.
I'm not gonna pull out notes on a headliner's tour date
Tour.
show. You know, I'm
Yeah.
just
So
gonna do
you
the
pretty
shit. I'm
much
gonna do the
have.
shit that I know that's gonna work. You know,
Yeah.
I'm gonna work the crowd. I'm gonna do the shit that's gonna work. But there's times where it doesn't matter if it's a show. I'm still feel like pretty loose to work out some
Mm,
shit or try some shit. So I use my notes. So it just depends on like the energy of the show. Like I'm tonight, I feel like it would be disrespectful if I use my notes tonight. But
yeah.
there's other nights where I would do it, and maybe other people say it. You know, it just depends on where you are, how you feel about it. But that's where I'm at.
Okay. I'm like that too. So like honestly, if it's a paid spot, like if it's a ticket show or paid show, I say either one. Then I'm definitely, I'm going with stuff that I know that definitely works. I might throw like one or two new things in there, but I'm not gonna sit there and walk out there with note cards in my back pocket or tape. Like there's one girl comedian I've done shows with, and she does it pretty smart. If there's a stage, she'll tape her notes on the floor, and it's just not like the jokes are written out, but like she's got her set list in order, which is smart
Yeah,
because nobody can see it. But I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sit there and like tell a joke. And we've all done it, right? You sit there and our brains just naturally try to fill the gap with oh. And my dumb ass self would sit there, would be sitting on the stage doing this right here. Uh, oh yeah, the ice cream joke. Anyways, so I'm like, I can't do it, man. I gotta go in there. I'm like you, like I said, I gotta go in there loose. I know what I gotta say. If I get sidetracked, crowd interaction, just and Dan Brown, who I just interviewed last week, he gave me this great technique, which I'm starting to use. It's like if you ever get too excited and you start going off track and you know where you want to be, just take a deep breath and step back. Just one step. Just breathe and step back. But don't make it too dramatic because people think you're telling them to just calmly just breathe in and breathe
yeah,
out. And take your
true.
time. A lot of things I had to learn, I'm sure you had to learn this too, was I was always trying to rush. When I
Yeah,
first started, I was like, oh, I want to tell this joke, this joke, this joke, this joke, this joke. And now I'm like, dude, if I don't get to it, I don't get to it. I'd rather just sit here and be loose and, be like Devin. Wrap it up. Bet.
yeah.
And me and like,
No, I was just gonna. I'm agreeing with you, but I was just gonna say when it comes to like how I measure myself, because like you said, you can fall into the trap of like, you know, I didn't do this joke or this crowd or this person don't like me or whatever the fuck, yada yada yada. But I only judge myself by two criterias, Devin.
oh, yeah?
One, was I flexible and was I comfortable? Because if I'm flexible and if I'm comfortable, the easier it is for me to get into my pocket. Whatever my
Right.
flow is it's going to be easier for me to get into my pocket. The only time that I don't have a good set is when I wasn't either of one of the two. I wasn't comfortable enough or I wasn't flexible enough.
Yeah, I agree. Hey, let me ask you this because I did ask the last comedian did, and I always like to ask comedians this. Let's say a joke kills in one area, right? Let's just say it kills. You mentioned Vegas earlier. Let's say you do some shows out in Vegas, it kills in Vegas, and then let's just say you just go to back to California, and that same joke that kills in Vegas doesn't kill in California. What do you do? Do you just keep rolling with it? Let's say it's just mid show. Do you make adjustments on the fly, or do you just ride it out?
So I guess it depends on where you are because you should be able to do both.
Hmm.
You should be able to do both. Like, it just depends on how much you feel like that moment is impacting you or the show. Meaning, sometimes you can do a joke that usually works and you could roll into the next thing so seamless to where it didn't matter that that joke didn't work, or it's so apparent that the joke didn't work, so you have to take note of the elephant in the room, right? So it's like, how do you not beat up on the crowd and not totally shoot yourself in the foot, but still, because typically sometimes people want to blame the audience. Well, the people in Texas love that joke, so I don't know what's going on here in Georgia why y'all don't like this shit.
Dude, yeah,
So
I've heard. Yeah,
that
I've heard
shit is
people are like,
cringy.
"Don't
That
do
shit's
that."
more cringy. That's more cringy than the shit just bombing and you moving on. So I'm always looking to be the more creative I can be about how to approach it. That's the route that I'm looking to take. And then sometimes you may get laughs in areas where you didn't expect. So sometimes I've had it to where I do a joke and I get I don't get the laughs that I'm expecting to get at when I do the joke, though I get a laugh that's even more unexpected during another part of that same bit where I was like, well, I've never gotten a laugh there. It's weird that they're laughing at that point. So it's
Yeah,
kind of interesting because sometimes you don't fully know that until you push through it. Because if I didn't push through it, I could have just stayed there and started a whole different tangent of thought of, well, why y'all didn't get that, or y'all could have understood, right? Or I could have went deeper into it, like, well, you know what I mean, and all that other shit. But instead of that,
yeah.
which works, some of that stuff it works. I'm not saying it doesn't work, but sometimes
Uh,
it's good just to push through because you can still end up on the. My job is not to chase the laughter. I'm thinking
mm,
if I'm an artist and I'm a comic, the humor is already there. The funny is inherently part of what we do. I don't have to chase something that's inherently me. It's a part of me, so I don't have to chase it. So I'm not looking to chase the laugh with the audience. I'm looking to have an experience with the audience, and we're gonna be laughing from the beginning to the end. How we get there, it's all up on how we get there is depending on the relationship that we form right then and there. But ultimately, I'm not chasing the laugh, so I'm not looking to like I'm never one to run the light and be bombing at the same time. If I'm running the light, I'm running it because it feels good and I'm killing. I'm not just running the light because I'm trying to chase the laugh and get off the stage because I want to save my face. If I've been
right.
bombing for 3 minutes, who cares if these last 30 seconds don't go well? I've been bombing the whole 3 minutes
Yeah,
already. Who
dude.
cares?
I know. I'm the same way. I'm just like, I tell myself, I'm like, you know what? Especially at like open mics, and you probably know this, open mics are your best friend, right? Because like open mics, you're like, you go in there with all new stuff, and some stuff just doesn't work, and you're like, fuck it, I got 30 seconds left. I'm gonna have fun these last 30 seconds. You know what I mean? So I agree with
Yeah,
you.
you do.
Oh man. But yeah, brother. Let me ask you this last question for you, because how much time you got left before you gotta leave? I
I'm
don't
about
want to
to get.
accidentally hold you up.
This is the last question. Yeah, I'm about to get up out of here, but we can do this again.
All right. No, you're good, brother. You know what? Hey, what? We'll go ahead and just wrap it up early since you got to leave. You pretty much hit everything on the coffin for me, like I did with my last comedian. Where can the people at home find you?
Hey, Instagram is probably the most active social media that I'm on. You can find me on TikTok as well, but Instagram is just my full name, Stephen with the V, Marcus Releford, Releford. But I'll be all over, man. Stay in contact with me. I'll be sending you my calendar and my dates when I'm out in Georgia and stuff like that. And if any of your listeners around any other parts of the country, I'll be having some dates in Washington and Montana, Chicago, Philly, Dallas. I'll be all over the place, but I'm based in LA. So if you're in LA as well, come check with me. Come check me out. Come fuck with me. And I appreciate you, Devin, for having me on the show, man. And I'm looking forward to meeting Kyle on the next one.
Yeah, man. Hey guys, as always, check us out on our Instagram at Random Bucket Boys, and hey, on our YouTube channel, Random Incorporated, where you can watch the video version of all our guests that we've had on our show. And hey, we're on Twitter at Rando Corporate One, and now on Blue Sky. Marcus, you got any last words before I hit in?
Nah, I just want to say stay creative and everybody just continue to do what you want to do because that's what you're here to do.
All right.